Hi, everybody. How you doing today? Welcome in. This is AJ's and Kay's Yarny Tales, and we have a guest today. We have Macy from Macy's Games.
Hello.
We're going to talk about dyeing yarn, and as you come in, tell us what's on your hook and what's in your cup.
Oh, sorry. I was
Oh, it's
trying
okay. I'm like, did I accidentally have mine open? But I was like, no, I
No.
closed it.
I was trying to open it on my phone. Sorry.
So yeah, tell us. I've got my baby blanket that I've been working on that I'm designing on my hook, and then just some soda water, I guess that's what it's called, sparkling water, and then some berries in it. So nothing
Well,
big.
I brought something to crochet, but Garfield decided to get in my arms, and I've got some sweet tea in my cup.
I am knitting on. Okay, I hear myself echo. Is mine messed up? Or
I don't hear an echo.
Okay. I've got a baby blanket for my twin sister, and then I've got David's tea in my cup.
You talk about David's tea. I've got to try that sometime.
You've never had David's tea?
No, unless I got one of your boxes, you may have put some in that.
Oh yeah, any tea that I ever use. Well,
Yeah, I got one of your blends. Now that I think about it.
oh yeah, okay, yeah. Everything is David's tea except for like my recent things. I thought I had a box down here. I use Stash just because it's like individually packaged. Some of the David's tea doesn't. It's not like individually wrapped. It's in like the. What am I thinking of?
It's loose.
It's loose, or it's in the not sachet, but it's like the fabric bags in the big container.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's.
Okay. Sanja, I know she left this before we started. She said, "Hi, everyone. I will be in and out, probably lots to do. 3 doctor's appointments for Ben and myself tomorrow. Have to be up and moving around 6 a.m. Pray for good outcomes for us both. I'll keep you in my prayers, Sanja." Lisa McClure is here. She says, "Water and embroidery." Aston Powers is here. David's tea is the best. Kathy is here. She says, "Hi, everyone. Flavored water and still deciding what I'm going to work on. Probably my cardigan." And then Sandra says, "Okay, I'm here. Going to be working on some washcloths for our home. I have the granny square blind checks on the blocking board for an order." Okay. So lots going on. Welcome in, everybody. We'll give it about 10 minutes. We'll just chat, and then we'll get started. We have some questions for Macy. And feel free, if you have questions once we're done with ours, you can go, or if it has something to do with what we're asking, go ahead and ask it at the time.
Yeah.
We just stay casual around here. So Aston Power says, "Listening while I do household chores, but brewing a little girl, if that counts, due in 2 months."
Oh, you're pregnant?
Congratulations.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. Okay, well, now I need to know, since my twin sister's having a girl, what patterns are you making for your girl? What knitting stuff are you doing so I can get some ideas?
Right.
I'm making this for my great niece, who she's 3 months old now.
Is it a blanket?
Yeah.
Oh, are you changing the colors, or is it doing it on its own? I love that.
It's ice cream yarn.
Okay,
so but it's my design.
Oh, it's your design.
Yeah, it's my first time designing something.
Hey, look at you. I used the ice cream scoops. I don't know if it's different weights or anything, but I used their worsted weight one. I know they have a fingering weight too. I used it for a corner to corner baby blanket.
Uh-huh.
Is that worsted or fingering?
I'm trying to find it. I got a smaller hook. I thought it was like sport weight. It's a 3. It's a DK.
Ah.
But it's in the big one. It's the big scoop, but I have some smaller ones too, because I doubt this is going to make the whole blanket since I made it bigger than a normal baby blanket.
I just finished a baby blanket for my cousins, and I didn't like everyone said online because I did the what is it, the Stephen West, the garter stitch, and everyone was saying like, oh, if you cast on the amount that he says to cast on, like it's gonna be huge. And of course, I was like, nah, it'll be fine. I'll use a smaller needle. And that baby blanket is like, well, it's almost 4.5 feet wide, and then it's like, and I'm like, this is like halfway through finishing it, I was like, this is horrible. Like it's the biggest. It's not even a baby blanket. It's like a human lap blanket or a small twin bed
Uh-huh.
blanket. It's huge.
I always try to make baby blankets larger, depending. If I'm just making one, I usually try to make it larger so they have it when they, you know, are a toddler, and then when they get a little bit bigger. But there's a certain one that I make that's really lightweight, but I haven't made it in a while, that you can just fold up. I had one for my daughter when she was a baby, and you can just put it in the diaper bag, and that way if you're in a doctor's office or something and they get cold, you can just pull it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard people do that with like shawls and stuff. Like they make the schlanket, like the shawl blanket sized ones,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
so I can keep it and use it as a blanket.
Okay. Sandra said congratulations. Austin says thanks. And she said I made the anchors onesie and bouncy blanket.
Ooh.
Kathy is saying congrats. Sandra says when everyone says that, I think my Stefan. Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to now. Sorry, Sandra. And Flower Tammy is here. She says hi, AJK and Macy of Skeins. Hug. And Maritza's Yarn and Crafts says hola.
Hola.
I never say that right. I did not take Spanish in high school.
Well, I
took
took
the
it.
dead
I took it in
language.
high school, but I learned it too while growing up a little bit.
Yeah, I took the dead language, and I can't remember a whole lot from it.
What'd you take?
Latin.
I was in sign language.
Oh, okay.
That's
I know a
cool.
little bit of signing too.
I forgot like everything.
I had planned on being a pharmacy tech, or not a pharmacy tech, a pharmacist. I have been a pharmacy tech for a while, but not anymore. But life had other plans for me, so. But I took Latin to prepare myself for doctor's scripts and all that kind of stuff.
Do they usually use like Latin in pharmacy stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of the symbols and stuff. Like if you see an S with, well, sometimes they may put the line over it, sometimes they may not. It means without. So there's a whole bunch of different, C is with. There's just a whole bunch of different ones.
Good to know.
Sandra says, my son's name is pronounced as Stephen. That PH says the V sound. Last name is West. Okay.
Oh, you were, because I said Stephen West, the pattern designer. So her son.
Oh, okay.
Stephen.
Flower Tammy says, my granddaughter did sign language in high school. And Aston says, sin is without in Latin. I took Latin. Yep. I don't think of sin. I think of sinister because that's the longer version of it. Yeah.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the movie. Like if that's why they chose the name for the Sinister movie.
No, I don't.
No.
It's about a demon, and I know most like demonic stuff is Latin themed.
So, true. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I watched all of the Sinister movies.
I have started to learn how to knit.
Really?
Yes. Remember, I kept telling you, I'm going to learn.
So what have you done?
I've only learned the knit stitch.
Hey, that's that and the purl stitch. That's all you need. Then you're good.
It's down on the floor. So a washcloth that has a lot of
knitting,
a lot of mistakes in it, but
hey, if it's got yarn overs, it can just be considered the grandma's favorite dishcloth because that one has a yarn over border. So it's a design element.
Yeah.
I figure it's my first one. It's for me anyway. So, and I just have to learn how to bind off. I haven't done that yet.
It's not hard at all. Casting on is harder than binding off.
Oh, I love casting on. I could sit and cast on forever.
Make a giant long scarf or blanket or something. Just cast on like 300 stitches.
Spring, the fiber enthusiast is here. She says hello,
Hey,
everyone. Sandra says, me too, AJ. So does that mean that you just started to knit as well? Kayla V says hi. Spring says hi, Sandra. And Sandra says hi, Kayla. Karen Carlisle is here. She says hello.
Hi, Karen.
Just a whole bunch of, I'm not going to repeat all of the highs.
Yeah, everybody said hello to everybody.
So, okay, why don't we go ahead with questions? The reason we asked Macy to be on is because for those of you who watch this, you already know when Kaylin and I came, just Kaylin and I, because we used to have Ambi with us, we changed our name. And we decided that we wanted to start finding things that we could research and like find information about. Like the series that we just did part 1 on, which is, you know, how long has crochet been around? Long, you know, the history of crochet. So, and we've got at least 2 other parts we're going to add to that we figure kind of blends in. But somebody had asked, we had said we want to do that. And we also want to do things that maybe we don't even know a lot about. And we can ask somebody to come on. And somebody said, oh, what about, you know, hand dyeing yarn? And I was like, oh, I know the perfect person to ask.
Yes.
I've been following Macy for a couple of years now. So I can't remember how long ago it was when I found you through Bag a Day.
Oh yeah, it was 2020, right when I got started. She's the one who like launched me.
Mm-hmm.
I had like under 50 Etsy sales at the time, and like she's the one who pretty much started my business.
She's done that for a lot of people.
Yeah, yes. It was. I had no idea who it was either. Like I got the order notification, and one I was just like, oh my god, somebody ordered 12 skeins. That's the biggest order I've ever had. And then I texted one of my crochet friends, Zach Stout. He has a.
That's who I heard you from, was Zach.
Oh really? You watched him?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, this is a big deal. You don't know who Bag o' Day Crochet is, but that is a big deal. And so since then, I've been like, yeah, I owe everything to her.
Yeah. I'm like, what? One of these days, maybe she'll find me. But I'm like, when I was doing my stitch markers, and I was like, no, I don't need to have that many orders, which I will be getting back to doing stitch markers again, because I know some people have asked that too, but I've got to get my back room done. And you get sick all the time. It's kind of hard to get everything done, but I'm working on it.
Good.
5 minutes at least every day. And then days when I feel better, then I tackle more. I was back there tackling it today. So, okay. But we are here to learn about yarn dyeing. So I do have some yarn to dye as well. So
I didn't know you dyed.
I just dabbled. I've dyed a total of 4 skeins, I think. 4 or 5.
Have you knit or crocheted with them?
Yeah.
Did you feel like, oh my god, I dyed this and now I made something with it?
Yeah. Well, the first things that I made for my mom and dad. So
that's awesome. I think the first thing when I dyed my first skeins, I knit a sweater with it, and then it's like, well, I could never recreate these colors, so I don't know why I knit a whole sweater out of them.
I made an angel for my mom. I think I made a hat for my dad. So, but he hasn't worn it. He's one of those people who he'll go without a coat if he could in the middle of winter. So, okay. So my first question is, how long have you had your YouTube channel? And did you have it before you started to dye yarn?
I think 2018. Yeah, 2018 was when I started it, and it was just a knitting podcast. And I made my very first episode was I vlogged DFW Fiber Fest, which is like a huge fiber festival in Texas. And so I was like, that could be my first episode. That way I'll have like something to talk about. And so I vlogged it, and then I made like a recap as like, well, it was the Firefest vlog, and then it was episode 1 Firefest recap. And I like the first probably 10 episodes. I wish I could just go back and delete because they are so awkward. And
It's like that for all of us.
yeah, like
I still have awkward episodes all the time. So
yeah, it's like my sound was horrible because I lived at our apartment complex at the time, and I had rented. It was a 4x6 storage unit that you could like rent next to your like apartment that you could just throw your extra like hangers and like furniture or whatever in. But I had the bright idea. I was like, oh, I can turn that into a podcasting studio. And I'm like, oh wow, a 4x6 just closet on the 3rd floor of an apartment studio or an apartment was extremely hot in the summer and very echoey and not very good lighting. It wasn't a good idea. But
especially being in Texas.
Yeah, it would be like I had that little like the thing that you put in fridges to like make sure your fridge stays under 41 degrees. Like I brought that in there and it was like over 90 every time I was in there. Like it was just I'm like sweating buckets in this tiny little room. But
Wow.
yeah, that was in 2019 and 2020 and like beginning like pre-lockdown. It was 2018, 2019, 2020 is when I did all the podcasts there and it was just knitting. And then
so did you have the same name then, or did you have was it named something else?
No, it was always Mace of Skeins.
Okay.
So I had Macy made, which was when I used to do like I would knit for like craft fairs and stuff, like small business Etsy, like just knitting the chunky cow. Actually, I think I don't know. Oh, you can't see it right there. I keep the cat's like delay on my old stuff that never sold. But it was like chunky Lion brand woolies thick and quick, like cows, hats, and mittens. And it was like I sold that for since 2017. So I was like Macy made, and then it's like, no, I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to start a podcast. And my partner actually came up with Mace of Skeins, so I can't take credit. He's the one who came up with Mace of Skeins. But I just figured if I'm starting a yarn business, everyone already knows me as Mace of Skeins, so I might as well just carry on the name. And then now it's a hand-dyed yarn and knitting podcast.
Yes. And sometimes crochet.
Sometimes crochet, which I'm due for another episode. I've been slacking on. It's hard because I just rearranged my room. And so now I'm like, I still need to find, like, should I put the camera here? Should I put it here? Should I be like it's anytime I rearrange it, I'm like, now I got to find a whole new background and a whole new setup. And
yeah. Well, I know you had asked us, I'm part of Macy's Patreon. She has a Patreon as well. And she'll ask us, questions and put polls and things in there. And she had asked us where she should keep the camera, what her background should be. And I was like, she asked 2 different places. And I was like, just switch it up. Use what you want to do at the time.
I think I might start doing that because the wall that's like what I'm looking at, which is right behind my computer, is decorated the exact same as my old house where I had like all the weavings and the tapestries and like the pendants and everything. And so I'm like, well, it looks literally the same. Like I have it hung in the same spot. I'm like, that I don't want to repeat if I'm in a new spot. And then I'm like, does this get too overwhelming? And then this wall, I'm making like all red and black. And so I'm like, maybe I could do this one. But
yeah, I think, personally, if I had a space like that, I would just be changing it, to whatever mood and whatever you're talking about. I think it's great having your yarn behind you when you're actually, talking about new yarn and, showing it and everything.
And this side of my room is like my bed and my dresser. So I'm like, obviously not going to show that side because like all of my pajamas and stuff are over there. So I'm like, okay, I've got one wall that I can't do, but then I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I should do it in my dye studio, but I don't know if I was outside dyeing today and it got up to like 87 and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to buy a fan. I need to buy something that like a little mini air conditioning unit or something, because it's a metal shed, like one you would put like that you would buy at Lowe's, like one of those long 10 by 20 ones that you would just
Mhm.
put in your yard. So that's my new dye studio, and I'm like, oh boy, this metal roof and metal walls is going to be like an oven in the summer.
Mhm.
Yeah, you definitely need to get something to cool you off in there.
The only thing is a fan. Like I had an overhead fan like at my grandparents' house, and where I used to dye yarn on the porch.
Mhm.
And when I would speckle, the fan would blow my speckles, and so I would be like, okay, I guess this colorway is gonna have. If I'm trying to speckle right here, I need to like do here so the wind will catch it. So I'm like, I don't know if the fan would be the best idea, or if I did, I could just like put it under the table to like blow my legs or something. But my
Maybe get, I can't think of the guy's name, but he makes the big like round fans and
oh
like the oval fans, and you can put your hand through
I
it.
know them.
It
We
doesn't have
have one.
blades.
We've got one in our living room.
And from what I've seen and what I've been told, they don't blow the air out like the other ones do. It just like cools nicely. So
They
that
are
would be
like
my thought.
they're like triple the price of a
Yeah, I
regular
know.
fan. We
I
got
know.
ours. We got ours as like a family hand-me-down, 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 and we're like, cool. We've got the fancy Dyson fan.
Yeah, Dyson. That's it. We have a Dyson. My daughter got us the pet stick broom thing.
Oh, those are nice.
It's amazing. Aston says box fan on the ground, or you could do an AC for the space.
So I have the box fan today. It was on the ground, like blowing at my legs, and I don't know if I could put an AC unit in there, because you would have to, for like a window unit, you would have to like cut out part of the wall, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I put a
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, because I don't they make like little portable ones now or something.
we just installed. The reason I had to rearrange my whole room is we just turn it, a window unit in my window, because I was like, I have a loft bed, and so I'm like sleeping up towards the ceiling, and hot air rises, and I was like, this
Mhm.
fan is not cutting it. I need an air window unit that I could put down to 66 degrees, because I'm one of the people who likes to sleep in like an Arctic. I have to sleep cold, so I don't know if I could put a window unit in there.
Um, Aston says not a window unit. It sits on the ground. I'll message the one I had for our room on Patreon.
Yeah, please send me a link to that, because today I was like, oh boy, it is April. I am not looking forward to August or July when it starts to get super hot.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, next question. How long have you been dyeing yarn?
The exact day I think was the 21st or the 12th of June. I remember I had a 1 and a 2. I don't remember if it was the 12th or the 21st, but one of those days in June was my very first. And you know what? This was actually, I would stand up, but I think my dress is just a little too short. Or maybe I could. This was actually the very first colorway. Please ignore the bins I have. I'm in the middle of prepping yarn for a trunk show, so I've got those clear plastic bins everywhere. This was my first 3 skeins of yarn that I ever dyed.
Pretty.
That's very pretty.
I remember you showing that before.
I ended up making it sweet potato as the orange, and then fudge and sandcastle, and then after I had it as sweet potato for a while, I was like, I don't really like sweet potato as a name, because the outside of a sweet potato and the inside are different colors. And so then it turned to roasted pumpkin. So if you bought sweet potato a long time ago and then you bought roasted pumpkin, it's the same color.
Aston says it was super pricey, but you can get way cheaper ones.
Oh, I'm all about finding the knockoffs on Walmart or Amazon. So
Mhm.
I hear that.
that's like my specialty, is being able to find the knockoff versions of things.
My mom taught me from a very young age to always go to clearance first.
That's what I do.
And now with having the computer and the fact that I can't drive and I gotta pay for everything anyway. I mean, buy everything online. I'm always looking for the best price. So,
I always find like the dupes of everything, like the whole Lululemon leggings.
Mm-hmm.
$80 for a pair of leggings. I've got the Amazon brand, or it's like an Amazon store, and they're like $19.99, and they've got the same like little that reflective circle logo on the back, and they look just like Lululemon leggings.
Sandra says, I just got stuck on Macy's website. Oh my, how gorgeous. And Kathy said that's pretty. So let's keep going because I know we have, I mean, not a ton of questions, but enough. What inspired you to start dyeing yarn?
Not being able to afford regular indie dyed yarn. And actually it was for this sweater actually. I had bought yarn and I was searching and searching and searching for like I bought one skein and I was like, okay, I need it's a color work, so I was like, I need a body color for it. And I was going, this was during lockdown, so I literally didn't have the idea to dye yarn until it was like March, what, like St. Patrick's Day or whatever, they called for the national like shutdown. And obviously everyone thought it was like the 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna knit a sweater during this, blah, blah, blah. And then once my job at the time announced like, hey, no one's coming back to work, we're closing, I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? And then I was planning this project and I was like, I can't find any colorways that I want, and I can't drive to the yarn store to like hold it up and color match. And then of course, like I was looking online at like Etsy and like other yarn dyers websites. I was like, I still can't find a color that I want. And I was like, I wonder how hard it would be to dye yarn. And then of course, like everyone does, I stumbled upon Kim Knits. And I was like, she makes it look so easy.
And
And
that's who I started with.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, okay, this, I was looking at her and then it was Wool Needles Hands. She was doing the their box, like what's it? Carnival of Color, I think is what she called. No, she called it something where she did like a dye breakdown of how she did it. And I was like, push, I can do that. And then obviously like I tried it and I was like, oh, there's a lot more brain power that goes into this other than just dumping color in there. And I had found out we had like our apartment complex, we were going to be moving. And so I was just ordering on Webstront and like all these different like culinary websites, because yarn dyeing, you use cooking equipment.
Right.
And, I got chef certified. So like I went to culinary stuff and like I was taking culinary school and all this stuff. So I still had like a chef's license, like a restaurant thing supplier. So I could get restaurant supplies discounted. And I was like, let me take advantage of this before my license. And I was mailing everything to my grandparents' house, and they were getting it, and they're like, what are these pots? What are these pans? What is all this getting delivered? And I'm like, oh, by the way, once we move in, I'm going to start dyeing yarn on the back porch. Hope you're okay with that. And yeah, I bought mohair was my first thing, and I was like, what? Why did I buy? I need sock yarn or something. So I bought all this stuff, and I bought all the wrong equipment, and I bought like stuff like I bought yarn and dye that didn't match, like the chemicals, like I wouldn't be able to dye it. And then I had to buy new stuff, and then the fixed, like everything I bought was all wrong, all of the wrong things. And then once I bought the right stuff, I was like, okay, I'm gonna finally make the color that I wanted to make the whole entire time at the beginning. And it was the sweet potato color. And I'm like, now looking at it, I'm like, I could have found a burnt orange yarn. I could have found one, but I'm like, good thing I didn't, because I wouldn't have started Mace of Skeins if I would have just found the yarn I was looking for online. So
well, I'm glad you didn't find it, because
yeah, so it just kind of started from thinking or being stubborn, being like, well, if they can do that, I can do it. And then here we are now.
Right.
I mean, honestly, there's only two people I've ever bought hand-dyed yarn from, and that's you and Rebecca from Chemnitz.
You can buy her yarn?
Yeah, when she does, when she gets her episode, she puts the yarn up in her Etsy shop.
I had no idea you could do that.
Yeah.
I've definitely used her affiliate link because my tester yarn, she's got a knit picks link, and I like all of like the learning to dye. I bought all their knit picks.
Cool. I have a knit picks link now too.
Do you really?
Yes.
Okay. Where can I find that link? Because I'm
Down in my description.
Is that for anything? Like I can buy anything off knit picks and you'll get
Yeah, it's just a basic one that takes you to knit picks.
Okay, I'm gonna delete my shortcut, like when you open Google and it's like right there, and I'm gonna re-put it with your link. So now anytime I buy anything off knit picks, you'll get, because I buy stuff knit picks.
Thanks. I started with We Crochet.
Oh yeah, love craft.
Because We Crochet is part of
Love knitting.
Well, it's part of Knit Picks. Knit Picks and We Crochet are owned by the same company.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
So because I did an affiliate with We Crochet, I automatically was an affiliate with Knit Picks because they're the home company.
Oh, okay. That's like,
so if you buy something from We Crochet, when you get your invoice,
it's from Knit Picks.
It's from Knit Picks.
Oh, okay. Because I know that what is it? Love knitting, love crafts. I can't think of what it is, but there's like one more thing. I think it's like I don't know if it's crochet, but everything is like all one website. Like it's all the same website, except it's just like, oh, if you click this one, you'll see more knitting notions, or if you click this one, you'll see more like.
Well, they bought Webs too.
On Webs?
They just bought Webs.
Who did?
Love Crafts.
Oh wow. And I know didn't Jimmy Bean's wool get bought out, or they bought somebody?
I don't know.
I think Jimmy Bean's wool bought Mad Tosh, maybe.
Austin says, nice, that's what I do, Macy. She says, I put people's affiliate links as my shortcut. Sometimes yarn is cheaper on We Crochet. Yeah, I go between the two because the cool thing about the two, even though they're from the same company, they have different sales.
Yeah.
So it's the time of the year when they have that big sale, when they always have the big sale, and when you purchase a couple things, you get a free this or a free that. Each one has different promotions. So you go and you look at which one you like the best, and if they have the yarn that you want, you can get it, from whichever one. Sandra says, Austin, we use a portable air conditioner. It is better than our old unit. Sandra says she uses the portable air conditioner. It's better than our old unit.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And she just said, really? So I think that's about Webs being bought. And she says, Jimmy Bean's bought Mad Tosh. And I can't say that. Shibui?
Oh, Shibui?
Shibui, okay.
Yeah. I have one skein of Shibui.
Wow, I didn't know that Mad Tosh was bought. Cool.
Yeah, so actually the Mad Tosh headquarters is 25 minutes from my house. And it's awesome. They used to do, they haven't done it since Jimmy Bean's bought them out, but they used to do like in-person like studio tours. And it was so freaking cool because it's a giant warehouse. And like I got to go, not just me, it was like the whole crowd who showed up that day. There was like a warehouse tour. And so you could go and see like where they skein all the yarn, where they dry all the yarn, like the whole, their giant, like their room that just stores their dye powders is like the size of a restaurant.
Wow.
Wow.
Insane. And like we couldn't go, like they had like a little sidewalk pretty much of like, hey, don't pass this, obviously, because they had their recipes, like their dye stuff. And like you wouldn't steal it or anything, but they had like dye stations where it's the biggest warehouse I've ever been. And it was so cool that they let people, like the public, walk through. But my favorite part is they have these giant bins of oaks, which OOAK stands for one of a kind. So it's kind of like the one I call mine wild cards.
Mhm.
But they have a giant bin of wild or oaks for $17.
Wow.
Madeline Tosh well, that was before COVID, so I'm sure the price has gone up since then. But I just like 99% of my Mad Tosh stash was all like I got like
That would be awesome. That would really be awesome.
it was so cool, and they do like little like knit-in get-togethers where they bring like food and drinks and like coffee and cookies and all that stuff, and everyone can like knit in the giant warehouse. It was I don't know if they do it anymore, but it was so cool, and I was like, I live 20 minutes away from this, so it was very cool. But I don't know if they do it anymore since Jimmy Bean's bought them, though.
That's cool. Okay, Kaylin, it's your turn to ask them.
What is your favorite yarn type to dye?
You mean like color or like yarn base?
No, like yarn type, like wool,
Yeah, the yarn base.
cashmere.
1000% single ply. 1000%. Like my I say that, but I don't think oh yeah, I do. My heart base, my single ply, because it shows speckles and color like nobody's business.
That's
like,
superwash merino, right?
Yeah, 100% superwash merino, and it's single ply just means like there's just one, like it's not like twisted, like my like sock yarn and everything is like usually 4-ply twisted together. But single ply, a dream. It takes color. Like when I test color, I do it in like the mason jars, but I get a paper towel and I fold it into like a little square and I dip it in there to test the color because paper towel and undyed yarn is the same color. And most of the time it changes just a little bit when it gets onto the yarn. So like if I'm like, for instance, like this blue one right here, that one, like I'll make sure the paper towel, like when I test the color, is just a smidge darker than what I actually want it, because I know once it goes on the yarn, it'll lighten up. But single ply, whatever I color test is exactly what goes on there. And it is like to dye it, it's just like, oh, it just shows the color exactly how it was in your brain. And then it like adds a little pizzazz to it. I just, single ply is hands down my favorite. That and yeah, no, single ply. Yeah, 100%. I was going to say cashmere, but sometimes cashmere can be a little finicky, but single ply, no doubt. 100% superwash merino single ply is, if I could only dye one more yarn, it would be that one.
Okay.
And sorry, my partner just brought in, I don't eat
You're fine.
I don't eat meat or anything, so the only thing I can have usually from drive-thrus is French fries. And he just went through and got some French fries for me.
French fries are
I
good.
tell you remind me of my daughter all the time. She's a vegan too.
So is her go-to French fries?
I don't know. They don't do a lot of eating out and going through drive-thrus and stuff. So I know it used to be Taco Bell.
Yep, black bean burritos.
Yep. So, and she's been vegan before I heard you ever talk about it. So for a while, she wanted to be when she was younger, and we were just like, we can't afford to do, we didn't know enough. And we just, with my medical issues and stuff, we were like, we can't afford the food.
Right.
So, but my husband and I were like I eat a lot of plant-based meats because it's easier for me to digest with having chronic
That's the reason why I switched.
Yeah. So I have a lot of issues like eating some red meats and stuff because the pancreatitis, it just doesn't go well with my stomach. Nope. And I have to take enzymes to help me digest my food. So
that's what seafood was the hardest for me to give up, because I love seafood, but chicken and turkey and meat, like I couldn't even eat meat like brown red meat or whatever it is, because I had like stomach and digestive issues too. So I was like, that's easy to cut out.
My hard thing is cheese. So
mine is
my daughter has found some amazing vegan cheese.
Oh yeah, there's a place in Austin, Texas, and they're opening up a brand new one in New York, and it's like a whole cheese, like it's called Rebel cheese, but it's like made like it's only vegan cheese, and it was on Shark Tank, I think, and it like blew everyone's mind. It's so good, but
Wow.
it's also like stupid expensive for no reason.
Yeah.
But Kaylin, what did you say? I talked over you by accident.
It's okay. I said I can't get rid of cheese either, and I'm lactose intolerant.
So lactate is your best friend.
Yes.
Okay, Kaylin, you're still up.
Okay.
I think you've got a couple that go together. So
Well, she kind of answered the next question, which was what's the easiest type to die. So I'm not going to ask that. But I have animal allergies. Like I don't know if you noticed earlier I was sneezing, but that's because of my cat. I also get itchy from dogs, and I was just wondering if you ever considered like dyeing other natural yarns that weren't from animals.
Sneak peek. There is.
Oh,
I do have plans for a cotton base this summer.
Oh
oh,
my goodness.
awesome.
So
Awesome.
I
See,
actually
my daughter being vegan, she won't wear anything from animals too. So that's another reason why I use a lot of cotton.
I
So,
just the like I've knit with cotton in the past, but it just like messes my hands up so bad. And so that's what I've been testing. I think I'm waiting on one more to get delivered, but I've tested oh geez, like 6 different cotton blends, like ones that you can buy bare and everything. And
Mhm.
so far none of them. Like they all have that horrible like almost like carpet burn when you're
Yes.
like knitting with it. And I'm
Mhm.
like I need to find a soft, like a soft cotton. So I actually wrote down the one that's getting delivered. Like I bought it. I don't know when it's not from America, so I don't know how long shipping is going to be here. But it's a cotton linen blend. So
ooh,
we'll see if the linen
I'll be right
it's a 60-40. So we'll see if that 40% linen will make it a little bit softer. But that's definitely something I'm dropping in the summer. So
okay.
I'll have
Hassan had said she's addicted to cheese, and she says do linen or bamboo. Yeah, I love bamboo too.
So the bamboo yarn that I found from 2 different suppliers that I've been looking at, the only bamboo I can find is mixed with wool, like it's a wool bamboo blend. And I'm trying
Uh-huh.
to find one that doesn't have wool in it, just so it's like a super limited edition one. But all the ones I found that's bamboo has wool in it, which
Hmm.
sucks. And
Yeah,
then
that does.
one that I loved, it was like a silk cotton blend. It had wool, and I was like, it wasn't on the website when I bought it, but it was on the tag when I got it in.
Adios, Mom. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that's fun. He was trying to come in my door and I had locked it.
She says that will be fabulous. She says, but I'm not vegan. Well, you don't have to be vegan. I mean, there are a lot of people that have allergies like
Mm.
Kaylin does, and a
Yeah.
lot of people who can't use wool.
It doesn't bother my hands while I'm using it, but if I put it anywhere near my face starts itching.
Ah, that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, it does.
See, I eat vegan and like I don't buy leather, but like yarn since it's like haircuts for sheep. Like I know I'm not that's the whole reason why I switched the company that I buy my bear yarn from because I was like, you cannot hurt these animals or pump them full of steroids or anything to make their hair grow quicker. So it
Right.
was like I had to switch companies so I could find one that was like, these are our pets and we're giving them
Uh-huh.
haircuts.
Right.
Yeah, I was talking about that to somebody the other day. Allison says, "Would oops, pregnancy brain." When she said that, when I that will be fabulous, I thought she did that on purpose, but
Oh,
she
that's
meant
what I
that
thought.
would. But
Well,
yeah,
one
I
time autocorrect actually had your back.
I've asked
Right.
my daughter. I'm like, if I get wool that I know comes from a place that treats them nice and like their pets, and she's like, nope, nope.
Oh,
She will not. So I'm like, okay,
I
it's
I totally
cotton
get that.
or acrylic. And I had gotten to where I really wasn't using a ton of acrylic anymore, but I'm like, okay.
I totally
But
get that though. I've
Yeah.
got friends that are hardcore, and it's like I'm more just I don't want to kill anybody
Yeah.
or kill any animals. So
Yeah.
We just went to a veg fest that they had this last Saturday. Her husband and her and I, we went. It was really fun.
where was it?
It was here in South Bend in Indiana.
That's so fun.
So I'm sure they have them other
Oh
places.
yeah.
But it was just a small thing, but they had this couple is really cool. He's from England and she's from around here, and they got married and they're vegan and they do this little cooking show now on YouTube, and they were teaching how to do a vegan candy bar, but it's like with the raw materials too, so you get all of the benefits, because they had places there. I bought something to bring home to my husband, and when we looked at the label, because I bought it real quick, had so much sugar in it.
Oh,
It's like you got to be careful with vegan, because you can get either stuff that's really good and full of the good nutrients and stuff, or you can get stuff that's just as bad as if you weren't eating vegan.
oh yeah. I definitely tend to eat on the junk food side. Like you hear all the like crazy health benefits, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not. I mean, I tend to eat I go to the frozen food section most of the time.
We love when it's holidays, we have dinner. My husband and I always try, when it's our turn to cook vegan, well, we have to, so that she can eat too.
Yeah.
And Trader Joe's is our best friend.
Oh yeah. And Trader Joe's is a lot cheaper than like Central Market or Whole Foods or stuff. And I know Sprouts and I don't know if y'all have Sprouts
No.
near y'all. Oh, okay, never mind.
We don't.
I
But
don't even have Trader Joe's.
You don't have Trader Joe's?
Mm-mm.
She lives in a little teeny tiny place.
Little town like this right here. I'm telling you, if you blink your eyes for too long going through town, you'll miss it, because I have 2 red lights, and that's it. And they're 2 blocks apart.
And
I
you
have
said
a
it's
friend
Arkansas
who
or
lives in
Alabama?
I have a
I'm
friend
sorry?
who lives in Wyoming, and they have like one light, and then like places where there's no stop signs, because people don't usually even meet.
Oh wow.
Wow. But you said you were Arkansas or Alabama?
Alabama.
Oh, okay.
And
If
really-
I go,
Oh,
don't
Garfield.
do that. Don't do that.
Amberly
If I go
Gardner
that
is
way
here.
for about 10 miles, I'll be in Florida.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh,
So
you're really, I forgot you were that southern.
Mm-hmm.
So
Amberly Gardner's here. She says late to the party, but
Hey,
I wanted
Amberly.
to drop in and say hello.
Oh.
Hello.
Ashton says she's in Alabama.
Uh-huh. And she
Ashton
says me too. So it sounds like she's down south like you.
Where you live at?
Aston just moved. They used to live in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
They were my one Arizona friend. And
She
now
said
I'm
she's
in
about
Aston.
10 minutes from Florida.
Oh, wow. You might be in the same town as me.
Aston, do you also only have 2 red lights?
She lives outside of. Okay.
Amberly says Kay's town sounds like Pottsboro.
It does. That's a Texas town.
Oh, okay. Okay, so do you live in Enterprise or something?
She may not want to say where she's at. You may want to
Well,
tell
I
her where
know.
you're at. You may want to ask the next question too.
Okay. Let's see. What's your favorite color?
Blue? Well,
But to dye with, is that your favorite color to dye with?
oh no. Oh my God, no. Blue
I
is
know where you
is
are.
so hard. Of course, my favorite color is the hardest color to dye. My favorite color to dye would probably be wow, I didn't think that question was really that hard. I really like dyeing with purples. I don't dye that many purples. For some reason I dye a lot of like orangey, like yellowy reds, which
And I love that. Well, I love the yellowy. I'm not the red person, but I love the yellowy.
but like I get like I didn't realize this whole cubby is like orangey, yellowy red. But I really like purples because they can lean like blurple, like a blue purple, but they can also turn to like a pinky purple, which I'm not that big on pink, but it is I've got the most pink dyes out of all of the dyes, which is strange. But
Olga Gonzalez says, but your blues are amazing.
okay, so Olga actually just knit an insane shawl. It looks like dragon scales. I can't remember the name of it, but she faded from like gray down to blue. And it was using my like myths and legends yarns, and so like it all faded, but the blue to like the darker blue, it was, oh my gosh, it was insane.
Awesome. It sounds great. Aston says she's added you on Instagram, Kaylin.
Neutral network.
Oh, the dragon lore shawl. That's what I was talking about. The Olga
And
did.
Amberly says, I love blue and swanky.
Oh yeah, that's the same base of icicles. So
Oh,
if
I
you look
loved
at,
icicles.
I have, well, you can't see it, some of it down there, but I use that blue. I use that. It's like two different blues mixed together in a dye powder. Like, and there's some tonal colors that instead of like measuring out the teaspoon and the quarter teaspoon and the eighth teaspoon of every colorway, I like make a big giant powdered batch of it. So it's like when I need to dye, like for instance, Hot Kiss has 4 different pinks. That's my like neon pink. And so I pre-mixed all the colors. So when I need to dye it, I just shake up the little container and scoop out like 1 scoop of the color. So it's like,
Oh, okay. I got you.
Cool.
but the icicles, that blue, I love so much that I use that as the base and like so many other colorways.
Olga says, sup, y'all, and Dragon Lore Shawl. And then Essen says, your bright colors are great. They are always so vibrant. They are. I have to tell you, your trunk show that you just had,
The
I
one
wish
in
I would have had some money. I think that is my absolute favorite colorway that you have done.
which one? The show colorway?
The one in Wyoming, the mountain.
The show colorway is the one you love the most.
I thought you had the word mountain in it somewhere.
Yeah, it was named after the yarn store, the Swanky Mountain.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The show. Okay. Yeah. The show colorway. Yeah. I love it. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
I thought it was the most, yeah.
Well,
I
I
was
tried
very
to
upset
do.
that I was so poor at the time. I'm like, I would have bought even just one hank to have it to look at it. I was just like, that is just so gorgeous.
I tried a new dye style, so good to know that you liked it, so I can do that dye style again on another one.
Olga says, okay, but Poseidon, dot, 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 dot.
Yeah, that's probably so. With the Myths and Legends collection, each Greek god and goddess had 2 colorways, and this blue cubby right there is Poseidon's on the bottom and on the top, and that and ocean water, which I did like 3 summers ago, which is a deep like oceany blue, just like those.
Mhm.
Those have been my top 3 colorways ever that I've ever dyed, just because I'm such a sucker for a good like a royal blue, and those are they've got a lot of blue in them, so I'm biased towards that.
Austin says blue Hawaiian.
Oh, yeah, that's also right there. That's got that
Yeah.
was actually so that blue I used it was like a turquoise and a sky blue and like a teal green that I mixed together to create a blue. And then one color, I think I put sour apple, which is like sour, so it's like a bright green, just to make that shade of blue. There's
Wow.
most yarn dyes are not just one color. It's like
Right. It's
for
a
instance,
mixture.
this one right here, Call Me on My Shell Phone, there's 11 different dyes in that one just for a tonal. It's, I mean, I just keep adding until I'm satisfied.
Olga says, look at Neptune. I'm still obsessed.
Olga actually sample knit a cardigan out of Neptune, which is like a dark, deep green and royal blue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, the sample crochet I got to do for you, I just loved the colorway of all those. The dirty cowboy, and
oh, you mean this thing?
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I've got it. I think that this is the right side, right? Yeah. Ta-da! This was on my mannequin at Fest.
I was like, oh my goodness, all the rest are up on the wall and mine is down on the mannequin. I was like, how did that happen?
Well, I wanted it. I had since this was the show color, it was, let's see, the main one was this brown, which was called Dirty Cowboy, and then it was Cowboy Butts, which was the
Yep.
blue, and then Rodeo Queen. It was
Yep.
all Texas themed.
Mhm.
But I was like, everyone, I picked yours for a reason, because everyone, like most yarn booths had knitting samples everywhere. And I did, like, all on like the back. I had a mixture of knit and crochet, mostly knit.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, I want a crochet sample to be like down with all the people in the front where people can touch it and be like, oh, because really, when you go to yarn stores and like stuff, you see like it's probably 80% knitted stuff,
Yeah.
right? And I was
Well,
like, if
even
I put,
stores, when you try to order, when they show you a swatch, it's usually a knitted swatch. And
right,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that's what I was like, I want to put a crocheted sample out there, and yours was the one that I specifically picked the show colors to be crocheted out of it, and I was like, I'm gonna have her sample be the one on the mannequin, and it,
I
Mhm.
it
had
got touched.
fun making that sample.
It got so many compliments, and it got touched by, I think, at least 500 people that weekend.
Dang.
Well, another
It's been washed, by the way. I washed it.
another crochet YouTuber who's a friend of mine, she came to see you. And she was like, I touched your sample.
Who was it? Do you remember?
Her name is Robin. I can't think of Robin's channel this minute.
Wait a minute.
Roaming with Rover.
Yeah, Roaming with Rover.
Does that
She'll
Robin
talk
happen
to
to live
you.
in Texas?
Her daughter lives in Texas, and she was staying with her daughter at the time.
Because I remember the name Robin, because that's not a common
She
name.
talked to you. She said she
Okay.
talked to you.
I wonder if I got a picture. I probably
know.
did.
She didn't say if she got a picture or not, but she said that she talked to you. Scraptastic Crocheter is here. She says hello from Sweden.
Oh, wow. Hello.
I believe her name's Amanda.
Okay.
What time is it in Sweden? I'm curious. It's 7:57.
She's a night owl. Come on.
I can relate.
So can I. Not lately, though. Let me see. My next question I have for you is, have you ever dyed with natural dyes? Like avocado peels, flowers, beets, things like that.
Yes, but not for Mace of Skeins. Oh,
Right.
it's
Well, I
3
didn't think
a.m.
of it.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think for Macy Skeins. I just meant, have you ever personally?
So one of my good friends, Bree, she owns Moon and Yarn in Pennsylvania, and she, for my birthday a couple of years ago, it was before I started dyeing yarn, actually. She got me like this. The hi little Garfield. Oh, if I could virtually scratch his chin, I would. She got me a yarn dyeing kit that had logwood, and something else. I can't think of logwood and not it's like dandelion, but it's what tea is made out of.
Well, I know there's dandelion tea. There's lavender tea.
Yarrow?
No. It's like the yellow plant. What am I thinking?
Saffron?
Chamomile.
Okay.
Yeah, it was logwood and chamomile. So logwood usually is purple. I don't know what logwood is. I'm guessing it's some type of wood. But it usually dyes like a purple color. If y'all listen to the Yarniacs podcast, I don't know, it's a California-based podcast, but the host Charlene, her favorite color ever is logwood purple. So it's literally the only reason what I know what logwood is through the Yarniacs. But I dyed it, and I think I left it in the sun just a little too long, and it turned blue. So it was like a blue and like a yellow, but I didn't follow the instructions, and I didn't put it in like a tea sachet bag. I just dumped the logwood like shavings and the chamomile and the yarn. So I've never knit with it. It is still like 5 years sitting in my yarn stash because it's got so much like sticks and like leaf and everything. I cannot clean it. I've tried so many times.
Pressel Sprouts is here.
That's my twin.
Okay. She says, LOL, this is playing through my big speaker in the yard while we do yard work. You are telling the whole neighborhood.
Hello, neighborhood.
Hello, everyone on the street. Come subscribe to this channel.
Okay. Well, I asked you that because I actually have been saving avocado pits and peels because I want to dye with my avocado stuff because I've seen it can make a really pretty salmon pink, but I need to learn how because when Chemnitz did hers turned into like this brownish color.
Yeah, there's like that's one of the I will never jump into the natural dyeing territory because that is like 100% science. I mean, acid dyes are science based, but that one is like super, super.
Yeah, I had read because one of the designers that I follow as a blog, she had used it as well, and she said you have to add baking soda to it, I believe.
Yeah, you need some sort of like solvent to like I don't even know what the words would be because I'm not a science major.
Yeah, to get the chemical reaction and all
Right.
that to happen.
But I do know it's so easy to like screw it up quickly. Like I know that if you heat, I don't know if it's onion skins or it might be avocados, but if you heat something just a little too much, it can like boom, instantly change the color to like a murky, like gross. I mean, depends
Well, her
on
brown wasn't bad, but I want the pretty pink.
right. I've seen and onion skins, which I'm a huge onion lover, and I could easily save enough onion skins to do it, but that you get like a perfect like sunflowery gold color. I know.
Ooh.
I don't know about purple onions. Purple onions might their onion skins might do something different. But
I
like,
should have my husband start saving onions. Yellow is my favorite color, so
it would
and
look
sunflower
like,
is especially.
it would look like the color you've got behind you. That like sunflowery gold.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that one. That's I mean
Cool.
what I've seen. And then I've seen people there's like some sort of tree bark that I've seen people dye with and it turns it to like a dark green. And I'm like, I don't know what tree bark you're using that gives you a dark like oceany green, but it's beautiful. But yeah, that's one territory I will never step. That and self-striping. I will never attempt that. I will leave that to the pros.
Clue, be careful. Hey. Sorry. She's about to fall off a table.
Cat's gonna cat.
Have you ever used Kool-Aid or anything like that? Because that's actually what I've used to dye with.
So before, when I was still living in the apartment, like the second week of lockdown, I had mystery yarn. So somebody had contacted me and was like, "Hey, my neighbor left this in their attic when they passed away. Do you want the yarn?" And I was like, "Okay." And so I got it, and it was a bunch of like mystery yarn, and I did the whole like there was no labels or anything. And there were a couple of projects and stuff, and half of it like had moth holes in it, and it was like, okay, there's so much dust on this yarn that it's like not even worth washing. So I was like, that can go. I'm gonna get rid of that. But some of it was like in skein form, and I was like, what is this? And I was trying to get people like to show it online and see what people would say. And I did the fire test. You know, like when you light like a strand of fire or a strand of yarn on fire, and if it something about like the smoke point, you can tell like what fiber it is. And it like immediately puffed into giant smoke and like big flame and then was like jet black. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I still, to this day, I don't know what the fiber content was. And I don't know if it was one fiber content and then was so old that it was reacting a different way. I don't know. But I had a packet of Jello. It wasn't Kool-Aid, it was Jello. It was strawberry Jello. And I don't know why I had that in the cabinet. But I tried dyeing with that, and it was this strawberry Jello colored in the pot, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. It's gonna look great. And I would pick the yarn up and it would look good. But then the second I would pick the yarn up and put it in a little drying pan, I was like, okay, interesting. It's really, really light now. And then when I rinsed it, every bit of the color came out.
It was probably acrylic.
Yeah. That's what everyone was telling me. They were like, I'm like, none of it didn't even turn like a light pink. Every bit of that color washed out.
And because cotton might do the same thing, but cotton would hold some of it.
No, it held nothing. It literally
Yeah.
looked just like this cup.
I've watched when Chemnitz has done where she did one and it was acrylic and she showed you how it would just,
It rinsed right
you
out.
could have a ton of beautiful dye and it looks gorgeous. And then you wash it and phew, it's gone.
Yeah, I literally with this, I was washing in the sink and like the one stream, I just like went over it and it was like pink yarn, white, right in the middle where the water went under it. And then I had spray paint and I took it out on the porch and I spray painted it with black just to see, like to get that fix of like, I need to change the color of this because that's what I wanted to do. Obviously, I didn't do anything with it. I threw it away after that, but I was like, I dyed it.
Aston says Lisa from Stop Drop and Knit does natural dyeing. Thank you. I will have to look into that.
I definitely have some natural dyeing in my stash, but that's something that I look at and appreciate, but will never try and recreate. Because I know my limits. That and self-striping.
I have a question for you that my husband actually asked, because I want to get some acid dyes and do some dyeing. If I had the energy, if I wasn't sick, I would probably love to learn to dye yarn to try and maybe sell it or, just give it to friends or whatever.
It's definitely
I had wanted to make some to give to friends, but I haven't been able to do that. And I only have a couple skeins left and I don't know when I'll be getting more. But anyway, he wants to know, what do you do? Do you take any precautions for your cat's inside now. So what would you have to do to take precaution wise for if you have animals around?
You mean
because he knows you have to wear a mask.
Oh yeah. A giant I've got a respirator.
When it's dry. So we were planning on taking it out on the porch.
That's where I did.
And he got the professional it's not the big masks, but the really good ones from the hospital because he works at the hospital.
The N97.
Yeah. And he's like, we'll do this together and I'll help you, if I get them.
So much fun.
But he wants to know because we take care of the cats outside. He's like, what if you drop some on the porch? How do you, get it off? And I told him, I said, well, I know you need to protect while it's dry because it's breathing in the particles.
Yeah. So it's totally safe once you mix it with water. Like usually like in this, like the winter, I'll keep the mask on all the time because the temperature doesn't bother me. But in the summer or spring or fall, it gets way too hot to keep the mask on. So unless I'm speckling, obviously it's powder, but I'll mix everything. So with the water, because once it's mixed with water, you can take your mask off. So for you, if you're worried about the cats, maybe kind of like grab some food and go to the end of your yard and like distract them. So they're like way off on the patio eating somewhere. And mix everything into water. And then if they come back up, it's fine because it's mixed with water.
Yeah. Well, we have a certain time of day. They're never even around here.
Oh, then do it then.
But he's afraid that if we drip some or something on the porch and if they come back and they try to lick it or something. No. I'm like, first of all, we would clean it up right away.
Well,
there wouldn't be anything there for them to lick. Aston says the dye causes a chemical irritation in the lungs and deposits their like silicosis. Yeah, but that's why you can't get the powder in, right?
Also, if y'all hear music, my neighbors are, I don't know what they're doing, but they've got music blasting right now. So I'm so sorry if that's coming through the speakers.
I don't know. And I missed Amberly Gardner had said Wool and Palette does natural dyeing. She also has a course in natural dyeing. Cool.
Wait, Aston, you're a pathologist?
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to say.
So the dye causes a chemical irritation in the lungs. So yeah, that's why, I mean, definitely wear your giant respirator, but once you've got it all mixed and it's in water, it's totally safe. It's almost like when you've got kids in your Easter egg dyeing and it's in like the squirt bottles and stuff, like obviously you don't have to wear masks and everything with that. But when it's open, like once the second you unscrew that lid to the acid dye, keep a mask. And even if you're speckling or whatever, and it's still on the yarn, it's not necessarily safe, but not safe. Like unless it's coated completely in water, then there's obviously no way for powder to get out. But keep that mask on 24/7. But if you drop it, like if you're talking about dropping the powder, just like wet paper towel it to get it up.
Uh-huh.
But if you spill like dye water, I don't know what like material your porch is, but if it's concrete, I have spilled
Which it is.
multiple jars. And it just like sits and then it stains for like a couple of days. And then like when you water hose it, it'll go away. I
Okay.
accidentally, I had emerald green and it was a brand new jar of emerald green. So it was like this size jar of brand new dye powder. And I had opened my hands a little bit and the whole brand new jar.
Oh
And
no.
then because it was like I had a water hose, so the floor was already wet, and it had hit the side, and the whole entire jar spilt. And of course, I'm trying to like water hose it away, and it just flooded the whole porch. And we had a dark green porch for like 3 weeks.
Oh, I think I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, and it was like one of those where I had to walk inside, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I stayed in the porch." But it went away because I don't know how long it would have stayed if I wasn't using a water hose on the porch like actively every other day.
Uh-huh.
But if you spill it, just clean it up just enough like where they can't. It's not water where they can lick it.
Right where they can look it up.
Yeah, I mean, usually cats are a little bit smarter than dogs. I think a dog would just lick it up and not even think
Yeah.
about it. But I think a cat.
Cats, if they go close and they smell and they don't like it, they back away.
Mhm.
That's what my cat does. When I've got coffee, he comes up and he sniffs it, and then he's like, and then he'll bury it. Like he'll try and bury it.
Now, Kahlua,
He
she will
drinks.
probably put her head in any glass that I have if it's open. So I always have to try to make sure I have a lid.
Yeah, he drinks
Especially
tea.
milk, even though milk makes them sick.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Well, my cat loves almond milk. Like when I've got cereal, I'll like let him have it.
Yeah, she tries to lick out my bowl after. Yeah.
That is one thing. My cat loves carbonated drinks. Like if we've got a like really Taco Bell's Baja Blast. Like if he hears the carbonation when he gets close to sniff it, we'll just like put a little bit on the lid and he loves it.
We just learned Kahlua loves asparagus.
Okay.
Absolutely loves asparagus. So I looked it up because I'm like, you know, I haven't seen this on a do not feed your cat list.
Yeah,
But
never
it
on
says that they can only have a little bit. They can eat it, but only every once in a while and only a little bit because it can mess up something.
Just digestion.
Oh, it can mess up in the bladder. And we've had a cat who had crystals in their bladder and we almost lost him. So he was like, nope, she can't have any. And I'm like, well, it's the males that has the bigger problem than the females. But I'm like, I'm fine. I won't give her any more. So she was at my plate trying to attack my asparagus. And I was just like, okay. So I let her have one. And I mean, who would have thought she was like, she devoured it.
That's what I was cooking the other night, and I had cilantro, and our cat,
Ugh.
like, whatever you're doing or you're eating or drinking, like, he's just like, I need to smell it, and then I'm fine. Like, anything you have, I just always stick my fork down there. I'm like, okay, take a sniff. You good? Okay. But I was cooking, and I was chopping up the cilantro, and I was like, you want to smell it? And as soon as I put it down there, he sniffed it, and then like fake threw up. Like, he gagged.
Well, that's my response to cilantro. So I'm one of
I
those
love
people who
cilantro.
can't eat it.
Oh, I could eat it, just the whole bushel of it. I love cilantro.
The first time I ever had it in something, I literally went to the bathroom and I got sick. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I feel so bad for you because it's delicious.
Well, they say it's either you can or you can't. It's
Yeah,
just
do
one
you
of
think
those
it smells like
foods.
soap?
I had never thought of that until I heard that, but I'm like, yeah, I guess it kind of tasted. I've only had soap in my mouth. Well, actually, accidentally when you're washing your face sometimes. But when I was younger, I had some.
Oh yeah, get your
Was it Irish Spring in my mouth? But it was from, again, washing. I mean, my mom didn't shove soap in my mouth.
No, my mom did.
She threatened, but
Yeah, mom always said, I'm gonna wash your mouth out with soap if you say that again. I mean,
My
we
mom
never-
did.
It
I
never
just did the
happened.
F word. That was it.
I only have one more question, so I can't remember how much. Do you have any more, Kaylin?
Oh, well, one was already answered. So, yeah, only one left as well.
Okay, go ahead.
But I think it was already answered too. Do you need special dye equipment?
Well, it kind of was because she talked about it,
Yeah.
but
So
also what goes along with that, which I figured you would say, is can you use that equipment for yourself later? You
No,
know,
no.
because if you're
So like
using
one,
Kool-Aid or natural dyes, you can, but acid dyes.
yeah, no, not acid dye. There. So I use one of those. If you've ever, do they have Subways where y'all live?
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like where you go into Subway and there's like where they pull the bread out, like those
Uh-huh.
giant.
Yeah.
I have
Kind of
one.
like a buffet pan.
Yeah, but I've got one of those giant bread proofers,
Hmm.
and I use like the big buffet pans inside of it. And my parents love hosting like giant parties. And I always think, and I'm like, I've got so many hotel pans, like giant pans that they could totally use. But then I'm like, I don't want to poison everybody at the party. So it's like you can't, once you use, like even like with the whisks and stuff that I use, like I use the whisk and the tongs and like the slotted spoons and everything, like even those, like once that touches that acid dye, it, I don't know what it is, but like it secretes some sort of like whatever the dye powder is. Like there's something in it that it's like, yeah, no, this is no longer safe for food.
Okay.
That's why I think my husband's worried if we would drop something and the cats would look it up because I told him, I said, if you use, we can't use it over because, he watched me dye with Kool-Aid and then we
Oh yeah,
use,
that's fine. That's fine.
the soup pot later. And I'm like, but no. And I'm like, I would need like a buffet pan because I really want to get more yarn and dye enough where I can make a top or something for myself. And he was like, well, we've got your grandma's buffet pan that we got, after she passed away. And I'm like, no, because we're going to use, you
That's like
know,
for Thanksgiving. Like
it,
you
it's
cook
like,
food
a
around.
big roast. It's a roaster, actually, not a buffet pan. And I'm like, we're going to use that. So, no, we can't. You
Yeah,
have to have special stuff when you use acid dye.
so I actually got one of my couple of pans like from Goodwill. Like you just go into the like their cooking section, like where they have all
Mhm.
like the plates and the bowls and stuff. And 9 times out of 10, they've got stainless steel like big soup pots. I've never seen a pan, but I do see the soup pots, and I've gotten two of mine from Goodwill, which are like $2.99 versus the like $14. I got the
Yeah,
least
yeah. Well, we
He
have
was
some old
watching you
stuff
while you
that
were
we can
talking.
use. We have some stuff in the garage, I know, that we could use too, that we would be tossing away anyway. So thank you, Eston. I don't know why I didn't even think about that. She told me I could always call poison control and ask
Hmm.
them.
Yeah, I anything like I keep everything like once it walks out the back door, I'm never bringing it back in the kitchen. Like
Right.
it's just like that is all dye powder like work stuff. Like I've never even if it would be like, oh, since like for instance, the cotton yarn, I have the only reason why I haven't jumped on that is because it takes a completely different acid dye and fixative. Like I have to buy soda ash and like the new dyes for that. So that's like one of the reasons that's like stopped me from not dyeing cotton is because the I use citric acid, which is like a wool binding agent, and it's
Mhm.
also what coats the Sour Patch Kids and everything, which I find that's so weird. I never thought about that when I before I was dyeing, but now anytime I eat like Sour Punch Dolls or Sour Patch Kids, I'm like, this is coated in the same stuff I used to set yarn dye with. Um, but the dyes and fixatives I have right now are just for wool, so I would have to buy the cotton stuff. But anyway, the cotton stuff is safer, still not safe to reuse the same pots, but it is safer.
Hmm.
But still, even that, I'm like, I wouldn't even chance it. I
I
would,
Yeah.
got some cotton to dye, but I'm going to use, like Chemnitz has shown that she's done before. I got some tie dye,
oh yeah.
so I'm going to use that. And it's just for myself. So if it happens to fade, it's no big deal.
Well, I think depending on where you get the dye from, I know Dharma is like a huge like Dharma and Prochem are like the two giant like not companies or whatever you want to call them that where you can get the dye powder from. And I know on Dharma they have like tie dye kits, and that's the
Mhm.
like that's the dye for cotton. So that like that's some of the ones I'm going to be looking at.
Okay, I just went. We had a Walmart that went out of business, so I bought some of the big things of
Oh, smart.
tie dye. So
We've got our dollar store, the big giant 99-cent store by us is going out of business. And I'm so sad because that's like the best dollar store of the bunch.
yeah,
Right.
it was sad because we have a total of 3 Walmart. Well, had 3 Walmarts in our area, but this is the one that was like 3 minutes from our house.
Oh,
So now we have to, drive to get to the other ones. They're not. One is technically still in South Bend. The other one's in Mishawaka, which is like our sister little city. So
that always sucks because like this one is like the giant one. That's like all the other ones are kind of sketchy and like run down.
Uh-huh.
But it's like that was the main one where it was like, oh, you need last minute like birthday party supplies. Like this one's got it. And like they had like protein powder, like they had vegan protein powder, which was like a dollar store. What? And now it's like everything's 50% off. And so I'm like, man, that sucks.
Aw.
But they had Easter tie-dye stuff. So that reminded me of when you said it was going out of business.
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, one thing, and I was going to say earlier, and I forgot. I would love to see you tape one of your sessions in your dye. If you find a way to cool it off,
Yeah,
I
well,
would
it
love
might.
to see that.
I might wait until like late fall, early winter, so I'm not like dripping sweat, being like,
Yeah.
okay, guys, this is the next.
But I
thing.
think that would be so cool to see what it looks like inside of your dye area. Aston says SDS for Jacker dyes has a very large amount for animal toxicity. LD50 lethal dose for 50%.
Hmm.
So don't use Jacquard dyes then.
Okay.
But also, like, if you find the part of day that those cats aren't around, like dye during that day and then just like super hardcore clean everything after.
Yeah. 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 Or take it. Well, doesn't matter anywhere we take it outside, they can get to. So, yeah. Or it may not ever happen. I mean, I have to have the money to get acid dyes anyway. So, and they're kind of expensive.
Once you start, I think the smaller quantities, they run sales a lot on Dharma for those. But once you buy like commercial size, like I'm not commercial by any means, but it is cheaper if you buy it in bulk. So I
Right.
always buy like the giant ones.
Yeah, I would only have small. I used to decorate cakes
Did you
when I was
really?
younger. So I have the paste, and like again, Rebecca says, she's like, it doesn't matter how old it is. So I've used that. So one of the first things I did was I dip dyed purple trying to break it.
I know exactly what video you're talking about because that was the video that I used to learn how to dye. The one
Aston
where
says
it's like,
it will be fine unless they eat a ton, which there's no way they would ever eat a ton.
right.
So
And that's what now that our cat's an indoor cat, he like doesn't even well, even when he did go in the shop, like before I was starting to dye, it was fine because everything was closed. But like even like when birds like are flying around, none of them fly in, but I'm still like, can you back up? Y'all don't need to be breathing this.
okay. One last question. And I
Wait,
didn't even have this on the questions when Kaylin and I were going through them. And I thought today, I'm like, oh, we need to ask this. Where do you get your inspiration from?
well, most of the time it's like food or like ads for food or drinks because like usually like right now have y'all heard of those probiotic sodas like Poppy or Olipop and stuff?
Yeah, I drink Olipop.
Yeah, so their ads, that and like vitamin companies, they know how to pair colors together. So usually like especially like in the summer there's so many like before like YouTube videos or like now they're all over Instagram, but just like the ads that you see, like usually I'll get inspiration from those ads. I'm like, oh, I would have never thought of pairing those colors together. Or like for instance, the collection I did, what was it, last spring, beginning of summer, spring, for all of the like beachy drinks. And I actually have been dyeing some more of those.
I love my pina colada.
I I still have, yeah, I've got both of my sleeves to do on my pina colada sweater, and I just have not picked it up because it's worsted weight in Surrey, and I'm like, that's a project for January. But those colors, like I'm re-dyeing some of them for the trunk show I've got next week. Just bringing back like the popular ones, but those obviously are inspired by the drinks that I named them after.
Mhm.
But most of the stuff is like food based inspiration that I'll just like name something that's not food.
What made you decide to do the Greek gods and goddesses?
So I was one of those kids that was just obsessed with Greek mythology.
Mhm.
Like one of those like, oh, peace, love, Percy Jackson, like love
Mhm.
all of that. And I was trying to think, I'm like, okay, what's another yarn collection? And then I had seen like like clips of Logan Lerman, who's the actor that was in the Percy Jackson, and it was like, oh, some actors age like fine wine or whatever, and it was like clips of him like showing up, and I was like, oh man, can y'all see his paws? He's trying to scratch his way into the room. Y'all see those paws?
Barely.
Little boy.
I can kind of see the light shifting. So
Yeah.
He does that. That's my alarm clock in the morning. He's like, time to wake up, mom. Time to wake up. But so I was seeing those posts of like them talking about how Percy Jackson has aged or whatever. And I was like, damn, that's a movie I haven't thought about in a while. And I was like, you know what I haven't thought about in a couple of months is Greek mythology. And then I was thinking and I was like, did anybody else go through that like phase of getting
I
obsessed
think
with
so
Greek
many of
gods?
us did. I am sure. I know I loved
Exactly.
everything,
And I
everything
was
I
like,
could read.
I'm sure there's other, I'm sure it wasn't just me and my sister that like went through a phase of being obsessed with Poseidon. And I was like, I wonder if anyone would be interested in that collection. Then I floated the idea to the patrons and they were like, yeah. And then of course I was like, okay, so I need to pick my top picks and they were all guys. And I was like, okay, I need to pick some girls because I need some pinks and things. And so it was like, okay, I picked my top, I think I did 8, 4 and 4 or 5 and 5, I can't remember. But I was
I
like,
was glad you did Aphrodite.
yeah. So I was like, I picked my favorite ones, and then that was probably the one, like that collection was probably the most research and like thinking that I have ever put into any like colorways ever.
No, I
It was
can't
like
remember if you did my other favorite female,
who
Athena.
I did not do Athena because
Okay, I didn't think so.
her colorways would have been so similar, like
To the men's.
exactly. So I was like, no,
Mhm.
I need to do like the girly girls because like Athena, she's like what goddess of agriculture?
And she's a hunter.
Wisdom.
Hmm.
Yeah, hunter and like wheat. So it would have been like
Yeah.
browns and wheats. And I was like, that doesn't really go. And like even with Dionysus, who's like theater and wine and like the Greek god of like entertainment pretty much. And his animal, like his sacred animal is a leopard. And I was like, oh, I could do like wine and then I could do a fun one like leopards. And I was like, that doesn't translate. Like it doesn't. And I was like, I need theater curtains. So I did velvet curtains because I was like, oh, god of theater, duh.
Hmm.
But that I probably worked like before I even dyed a single colorway or like an idea for that collection. I was researching for that one for probably about 6 months.
Yeah, well, I know you did quite a bit because you did ask us questions. We had a couple different polls.
Way in advance.
Hmm.
That's what it's definitely to this day. That one and my flowers like new start. Oh, I called it flowers because it was right when that Miley Cyrus song came out, and I was like, ah,
Hmm.
perfect. But
Right.
it was like the new year, like new me. So it was like new beginnings, fresh start.
Well, quit hitting the computer. Sorry, the cat's nudging me.
Hey, I love cats. I don't mind it at all. And I love how it's just all we see is tail from Kahlua, and then from Garfield we just see the paws.
Yeah.
And the ears.
I love it.
Amberley says, I love the Myths collection. I'm currently knitting 2 tops, one with Aphrodite and one Persephone. Yeah, I love Persephone too. I've not decided what to do with Medusa yet. I was always intrigued by Medusa and I was always afraid. They had that when I was younger, which I'm much older because you're my daughter's age. So, but when I was younger, there was this thing going around that if you said something into the mirror so
Oh,
many
Bloody
times
Mary, Bloody Mary,
and
Bloody
turned
Mary.
around and whatever, Medusa would be there, and then she would turn you into stone.
That was
I was always like, get away from me, get away from me. I don't want to be turned to stone.
well, that would be like all of the statues and everything. I was like, they were people. Medusa was here.
Right.
To this day, sometimes I'm like, those statues were a little too lifelike.
Right.
Where's Mrs. Snakes over here? Where's she at? But yeah, hands down, that's been my favorite colorways collection. Everything like that one, the most brain was used in that one, and I think hopefully it showed for it. But
It
I
does
loved
show. It shows. You put a lot of work into it. Believe me, I wish I could save enough money and get every colorway that you've ever put out there. So I just love, and if anybody ever asks about hand dyed yarn, I'm like, oh, you got to go look at Macy.
Oh, thanks.
So, I know that's all the questions I had, and we're over the time that we usually go. But just real quick, is there anything from everybody in the audience that you wanted to know and ask Macy before we say our good nights?
Anything
Give you a couple minutes. I do have to say one of my other favorite colorways too is your tribute to your grandma.
Oh, this one, Nanny's favorite.
Yeah.
I do that one, and it's one of those colorways that it was like I came up with it and I only dyed one pan, and then it was like, okay, I dyed like close to 200 skeins of it. And I was like, this, and it was all like I had dyed it right after a funeral, and then it was like right after that I had dyed like the giant batch, and I'm like, that's one that I just can't dye again. It
Mm-hmm.
would be one of those that's just a little too hard to dye. So I'm like, the last little bit that I've got, and then of course I knit a t-shirt out of it for me, but I knit the wrong size. So I'm like, I'm never gonna wear that unless my body frame shrinks, which will never happen. But it's also one of those where I'm like, I don't want to give it to someone else.
Right. I
But
get it.
but and of course I stashed a sweater quantity in my stash, but it's like once those remaining ones sell, like I just mentally can't dye that color.
Oh, I get it. I get it. And I made sure that I got one. That's one that I did get, and I had told you now, if you remember, it reminds me of my grandma too.
Yep, you
So
did
it
tell me
has
that. Yeah.
the colors that my grandma always liked too, and my favorite color with the yellow. And my grandma loved the blues and the purples and that, and it has a touch of my mom in there too. So
It's just kind of like you think of happy people and like happy grandmas and like parents and moms and stuff, and it's like this is just like, oh, if this is a tribute colorway, clearly that's after like a happy person.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
But and then my grandpa, after I had dyed it, I was like, whenever your time comes, he was like, nope, I don't want one of those. And I was like, okay. So it was at the time I was like, ouch. But then I'm like, oh, I'm so glad he didn't want one, because I was like, I don't know if I could go through.
I don't think you would have been able to at the time.
No, and the thing is his favorite color was the same as mine. It was blue, and I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do one of my favorite colorway like
Right.
do a blue. But that's why I was so glad. I was like, do you want? Nope. Like I didn't even get to finish it before I was like, great, okay. Good to
As
know.
it says, she agreed she loves knitting with it. I've been on a no buy since baby. So sad. And then she says, when and where is the trunk show?
So let me look at my calendar so I'm not lying. It is actually on the 24th, which is a Wednesday. But the trunk show is, so it's for North Texas Yarn Crawl. And I'm going to be at Juju Knits. And I've got my two show colorways, which are Spring Mint and Dreamer. So they're two new colorways. And they're going to be there. But it's North Texas Yarn Crawl is like a 2 week. It's either 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I know for sure it's 2 weeks, but I can't remember if it's 3 weeks or not. But it's like a yarn crawl style where you go to all of the yarn stores in North Texas. But I will be at Juju Knits on the 24th, and my yarn will be there at the 24th, and then it's going to stay there. So when I changed bases, I don't know if y'all remember, but I when I
Yeah.
switched suppliers, I had pulled all of my yarn out of the yarn store. So when I bring it back, like I pulled it out last yarn crawl, and then like I took it home, and I haven't been there like on consignment, like where my yarn is in a store. So it's coming back and it's staying there. So like I'm not packing it like all these clear bins. I'm packing it up because this is what I've been prepping the last like couple of weeks. That's also why I haven't had a shop update in a while, because I've been prepping for the
Yeah.
yarn call. But it'll be 2 weeks, April 19th to 20th, 28th. Okay, so you're gonna be there. My yarn will be there, Amberly, when you're there, so you can see the 2 show colorways. But yeah, so my yarn will be back in store.
I absolutely loved that lavender one that you did. It wasn't that for Juju's, or was it a different
The I did the whole
lavender fields?
kit.
Was it something like that? Yeah,
I love that.
that was gorgeous. That's another one that I had wanted to get, but I'm like, honestly, I want every colorway you've ever done. So
this one, it was the whole kit. I had done it for this shawl. This is the Emanate shawl by Carissa Browning, but it's the variegated one is lavender fields, and then the green is lavender and then lavender vanilla and lavender haze.
it's just gorgeous.
It was one of those like where all of the coffee shops and everything that are around me were doing like the lavender lattes, and I was like, ooh, I love those so much. So I'm gonna dye a whole kit based off of it.
Starbucks here just came out with a lavender matcha. It's like matcha, and then it has a lavender foam on the top.
Is that good mixed with matcha?
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Because I
like matcha, so
I love matcha too, but I'm not big on strawberry matcha. I don't like.
I've never had strawberry matcha, but I've never had really. I have some teas, like I have green tea matcha mixed, and now I have although I don't think that's matcha. No, I think I have a grapefruit green tea. I thought it was matcha, but it's not. But then this was really good. It has just it's lavender foam on the top. They have a lavender latte then too.
I love so I have an espresso machine at home, and I just drink Americanos, which is just the shot of espresso with hot water. And so I kind of save, and I've got vanilla syrup and caramel syrup for like if I decide I want a funky fancy latte. But I always save like the lavender vanillas or the honey lavenders or lavender matchas, I guess, for when I go out to coffee shops.
And
I'm like that. Oh, did he just open the door?
I don't think so.
You can see his tail.
I can see his. Well, maybe it was his tail, but I saw something. So, Amberly was like, "But you won't. Can I call in sick on the 24th?" LOL.
No, I'm gonna be there. Like once my yarn is there, I'm probably gonna go back on all of the days. Just because now, since we moved, I'm so much closer to the. Oh, there he is! Hi, little boy. Oh, he's just gonna lay down.
And Austin says definitely call in sick.
Oh.
And Ellie Leva's Crafts and More says beautiful shawl.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Ellie.
Little boy, you want to come say hi?
Okay. Last call. Any more questions? I got to get food off of the porch before the raccoons come.
Yep.
Well, I definitely had fun on here. This was we planned this back in February.
Yeah.
I'm excited ever since. So I'm happy the day finally came.
Yes, I know. We've been excited. And now I'm kind of like, it's almost kind of like Christmas. You're like all excited. And now you're starting. It's like, okay, it's ending. A little bit of a letdown now because it's ending. But you're welcome back anytime you want to come back.
Oh, yes. Yes.
LA says, hi, Kate. Listening and cooking.
Awesome.
Cool. I want to say thank you so much, Macy, for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Fun in here. Y'all are so easy to talk to.
We try to stay casual. So
yeah.
And I love seeing Garfield's cats.
Well, you know me. I love the cats.
And I I have that giant bag that I showed earlier of the cotton, and then I've got the other one that's like underneath the. I have to move this cart because it's stuck underneath it. And I know because I've gotten like 6 voicemails saying I need to go to my PO box to pick up packages, so I know that there's more cotton up there. So
Okay.
once I'm gonna give it till probably the end of the month, and then I'll mail it all to you for the meow mission.
I'm going to move you guys just for a second because I did bring out here because I didn't know if you'd want to see or if anybody who has donated would want to see some of the things that I actually make. This is one of my bags. But I actually have a cat toy.
So that's what you do with all the cotton yarn?
Yeah, and then this is a puffer fish.
Oh my gosh.
This is one of my favorites.
Oh,
The
the
rainbow.
little fish.
And some of them, yeah, this one has, if you can hear, put cellophane in there.
Oh,
So
that's so smart. So did you just put that in like when you were putting stuffing?
yeah, and then I have some that have bells in them. And then the easiest one is when you take the rings off of the milk cartons and that and just crochet around it.
Okay.
Oh, that's genius.
Cats love to throw these up in the air.
I don't know if I've got.
This is a little bit of a different style of,
Oh, a big fish. That's like a goldfish.
yeah. And then there's some balls, and I have this string that I put bells on the end.
Oh, he heard that. He came back in for that.
So, yeah.
I made the little mice. Like it was like a free pattern for like the tiny little mice. And I did like stuffing and I sprinkled catnip in the stuffing. He doesn't care about them at all. Once he found out he can't chew the catnip out, he's like, you tricked me.
My cats, they like some. They don't like because I have tried, some of them on them. But I give them to my daughter. She has 3 cats. My daughter's a cat lover too. We would love to be able to afford to make a cat sanctuary.
Oh my gosh, I would in a heartbeat.
We've been watching, my husband and I, this one that they show their sanctuary on YouTube and Facebook and different places, and that it's just a sanctuary for feral cats. Which is, if we could do, that's probably what we would do, since we take care of the feral community.
Our whole neighborhood
right now,
there's like a colony, and we have names for all of them.
And we do too. We have a couple cats that come in and out that are ours. We consider them ours, but they're not really ours because they're like, we're going outside now. But we can't keep them in. And we used to think, we're not letting them back out. We're never going to let them back out. But that's just who they are. They go outside, they live their life, and then they come back inside and they stay with us. So, and we make sure we got the flea treatment on them and stuff. Because another thing we've learned here, and I don't know how it is in Texas, but at least here, we have fleas throughout our yard and everywhere. So we bring them in on our feet anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So our cats inside get fleas. So we have to make sure that we have the treatment for all of them. So we just make sure that we put it on all of them. So, and we get it from the vet. But there's the organization called the Meow Mission, which is who I make the cat toys for. They do a catch and release program. So when we find new feral cats outside, and we get them checked to see if they have a chip, if we can. If they're extremely feral, we can't. But then we do go through the whole rigmarole, getting the cage and putting the food in there. So that's the only place they can get it from for a week or two. And then finally we have the day that they're supposed to go in. So we catch them and then we take them in, and they have vets that work with them that spade and neuter them.
Oh,
yeah.
So, and they give them their rabies shots and, all of the basic first shots that they can. And then they bring them back. Now, if you ever find anything really wrong, we're supposed to be able to call them and say, this cat is showing this or that. And they're supposed to come and catch them again. We haven't had to do anything like that. But we couldn't afford if they ask if we can afford to pay, and if we can, they only charge us $70, which is, decent, but we can't afford that. So what I do is I make toys, and then when they have a couple big things during the year, like they have a craft fair thing that they go to, and their biggest fundraiser is at the bowling alley,
Hmm.
and they just put up a table and they put the toys out and they sell them.
Oh,
So, and that's why I asked for donations, because I mean, I got to the point where I was almost out of cotton. So, and then
hey, well, I've got you
so
about to have a ton. Like this is just one of the bags. It looks like you got a ton of white, but
well, that's good. If I have to, I can dye it too.
yeah, this is one
There
bag,
you
and then the other bag has got a bunch of purples and blacks and greens and reds. But it was Teresa Lee. I saved the shipping label so I could remember to. She's the one who sent like probably 80% of that.
Okay. Well, if you're watching, Teresa, thank you. Thank you very much. It will
I-
come to good use.
I was just gonna show you this. I knit a little hat for my cat.
Oh, I remember when you did that.
He
go. Oh,
hates
that's
it.
cute.
So I, but then again, like I think he thinks it's like a collar, like a
Yeah.
donut.
Yeah, our
thing.
cat would not let us put something like that on.
But I was gonna say, if they make crochet patterns for this, y'all should totally look for a. Oh, and then the like super super popular emotional support chickens.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It just came out with a crochet pattern for that.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
I was able to get this to show you real quick.
Oh, that's her. That's her mitten right there.
Look at you. Is that a sugar and cream?
Yeah.
I have a dishcloth knit out of that exact same yarn. It looks so good. Look at you, garter stitch queen.
So as you can see right there's a big spot.
Design element.
It don't matter. I told her that too.
Well, I'm just learning, so
It's perfect. But
mistakes happen.
I knit this one a couple of days ago. It actually,
Oh.
I did the tail one night and then I did the rest of it that next day. But this is the pattern from the company that started the whole emotional support chicken, and this is my third one. I've knit 3 of them. But I don't know when it was, but it was like within the last couple of weeks, they did the crochet pattern. Like they announced the emotional support chicken crochet version. So
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
yeah. So y'all should totally knit yourself an emotional support chicken.
Okay. I haven't, well, I've done the cat as a toy. I want to make a bigger cat, so I have my own emotional cat. So I made my husband a bunny.
A bunny?
It's the first amigurumi I ever made, so I gave it to him.
That was like my thing of choice. Like when I used to crochet, it was like amigurumi all day, every day. I made like 4 different like giant, like where their heads were like this big and they had like big long legs and everything. I made unicorns, and I did like a couple of them. I did like hair, as in like I just slip stitched like long pieces of yarn, and then some I like crocheted curls. I did so many of those, and then I did foxes and like a couple of Yodas and like random stuff. So I love crochet amigurumi.
Yeah, I've done quite a few. I'm working on a I just had it in my head. A voodoo doll for my daughter.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Who are you theming it after? Who's this supposed to look like?
It's just a pattern that I got.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making like, hey, whenever you get pissed off at this friend.
No, it doesn't look, like anybody. It's just a voodoo doll pattern. And they actually like show it like where they've put pins in it. I'm not going to do that because she's got cats. So
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I'm
you
gonna
could
do her sans pins, but
I guess you could do like the I always have a container of them, and of course, right when I'm looking for like these, like the light bulb stitch markers.
oh yeah,
Like you could put them
yeah,
on there
yeah.
and like seal it.
Donna, am I in time? We are just getting ready to say goodnight, Donna. So unfortunately, you have to go back and watch it on replay, hon. Sorry.
Are you next to? Is that a fake light, or is it still daylight where you are?
Are you talking to me or Kayla?
Yeah, because I see your light next to you.
That's a light. That's a lamp.
No, but is that a
No,
window?
the other side. The other side, girl. On your table.
I've got a lamp on both sides.
Okay. She sees the lamp on your
There's
no, the other side.
that one.
Oh, it's a lamp.
And the
Okay,
window's behind it.
Gotcha. I thought it was because the way it had the bottom of the lampshade looked like a window pane, and I was like, where is it still bright daylight?
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah, now I see it's a lamp. My bad.
Donna says hello and good night.
Hey, Donna. Bye, Donna.
Bye.
Sorry, Donna. I put it everywhere, hoping that all you guys would see it. I guess I didn't put it in our group chat. I never thought about that. I was so busy putting it everywhere, I forgot to put it where all of our core group of friends chat. So anyway, thank you again, Macy, for being on. And
Yes,
maybe
thank
sometime in the
you.
future, if you want to come back, we would love to have you back.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have like a new
You know what? Why
theme or
not?
something, you can always come on and show your new yarn.
Yeah, whenever I drop my cotton yarn.
That
Yeah.
would be
Summer.
awesome.
Yeah, I could send y'all some yarn and then we could all talk about it.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I just I'm waiting for this new one, the cotton linen, so I can, because I've just felt all the other ones and I'm like, if
That's exciting.
if I'm gonna bring in a cotton, I'm like, I need to find a soft one because I
Right.
don't want to bring in,
Do they have any mercerized cotton? Because that's usually softer.
but it's very expensive. So that's like what I get it for, like the base price is like
Uh-huh.
moisturized cotton, I've noticed is like $6 or $7 more than like what wool is.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, then I would have to up the price. So I'm trying to find one that's like somewhat in the same price.
So you can
range.
keep it at the same.
Yeah. Which also makes it tough because it's like, obviously, the more you pay, the softer it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
But
And you actually have decent prices. I mean, because there's some people who charge out the wazoo.
Yeah. I just try and stay on like the lower, like the
Mhm.
medium to low end. But the thing is like, you will always find a coupon code. Like I never not have coupon codes because I am such a couponer. I'm like,
Yeah.
I will always offer coupon codes. But
Well, that's one thing for anybody who's not a patron. I'm telling you, I'm a patron on for Macy, and I only have 2 people that I can, because I can't afford to be a patron for a lot of people. But I love it because she does her polls. You hear about things early. Like we knew the Greek collection was coming way
months.
before, so you get in the know. You know what's coming. Like the one that's going to be coming up soon. That I'm kicking myself in the butt because I really think I forgot to send you stuff for it. But
I actually have some of them cooking in my. I dyed earlier today, and I have a couple of the pet, the ones you're talking about, cooking.
Yeah, well, I didn't say. I almost said what it was, and I'm like, nope, can't say that. So, because I'm not going to drop what you're doing. So.
I get it. Thank you.
Yes, Aston says sample crocheting.
Oh yeah, so that's another perk is only my patrons are the ones that I ask for sample stuff.
Yes.
And it's also like I know that they're, because I've been burned on 2, which I'm not going to say their names obviously, but I think I've been blocked on all of them. There's one who I sent all the yarn out to, and like I got blocked and never heard anything from them after that. So it was like they just like got the yarn, which sucked. That's happened twice. And then like another one, it was like not like they must have been like first time. It would be like, AJ, if you were like, oh, I can knit a brioche lace. It's like, you just started knitting. But I didn't know that, and they took it, and they, it wasn't the best. But so it's like, I know my patrons are trustworthy and they're real humans, and I know them. Like I've had conversations with like 99% of them. Who's meowing? Who's that?
Garfield.
Always.
Always.
I know my baby's ready for dinner.
See, and my husband keeps telling me, he's like, well, you say that you'll do things too many times for people, but he knows. I told him, I'm like, okay, this year I'm trying to do my stuff. I'm trying not to take on, a bunch of other stuff, but he knows. I'm like, if Macy needs a sample crochet, I'm going to put in for it. He goes, I know. So he knows too. He doesn't know how much money I've spent for your yarn, but he knows that I follow you he actually, Rebecca, you know how she does a couple times a year, she does a like, oh, well, you didn't know she had a shop, so you probably don't.
No, I still had no clue. That still blows my
She
mind.
does for Valentine's Day, she does a box for Valentine's Day, like how you used to do your boxes. She does boxes, and I always saved money from Christmas to get her Valentine's box. And not this last year, but the year before, he gave me he always gives me like a Visa card for Christmas. And my birthday's Christmas Eve, so my daughter gives me one, you know, for Christmas Eve for my birthday.
Double whammy, birthday and Christmas.
Yeah, I don't like it that way, but
I'm
Amberly says before, if you need another sample crocheter, let me know. I've started crocheting samples for Swanky.
Oh, good to know.
But the card wouldn't work. Something was wrong from the bank that he banked at. There was something wrong with their PIN numbers. You would put it in and it would say that it wasn't the right one.
Oh,
so
no.
I couldn't use it. And I'm like, I'm going to miss my Valentine's box. I said, I have no money. And he was like, you know, I'll just get it for you for Valentine's Day. And he handed me his credit card. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. He gets the bill and he's like, that box was $45.
He was probably thinking it was like some $10 candy box or something.
Yeah. And I was like, it's hand-dyed yarn. That's for everything she puts in the box too. I'm like, that is a good price. I'm like, you don't want to know what I pay for her Hanukkah boxes. Because at Christmas, you know, she does Hanukkah. Well, I haven't done any of her boxes for 2 years now because I can't afford it. But that's the last one that I had done. It might be a little bit more now, Austin. I don't know, because that was like 2 years ago. But yeah, it was $45. And I was like, he was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, no, you don't understand the prices for hand-dyed yarn, honey.
That's how I am.
Kind of like when I was a massage therapist, you know, there was me, I charged on the lower end, and then there's people, you know, then there's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's like how I am with coffee, like coffee beans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's some bags of coffee that's like more than a skein of yarn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Austin says, I took my husband to a yarn shop, 2 skeins of yarn, a book, 52 weeks of socks, and it was over $100. Wow. Yeah. I want to learn to do socks so bad. That's why I'm learning how to knit. I want to learn how to knit socks so bad. I had just thought of something and I just lost it. So, okay. Plus I didn't need to talk about that book.
Oh, I know that there's 52 weeks of socks and 52 weeks of shawls. And I'm jealous.
For anybody here who hasn't, you know, come on and seen before and doesn't know anything about me, since I brought up the fact that I mean, I still consider myself, I am a massage therapist, but I'm disabled. So that's why I'm not doing it anymore. But I have a series on my channel. So if you have issues with pains in your arms and stuff from crocheting, I put a series up for self-massage. So
yes,
that's cool. Did you ever get any weirdos?
Yes. We can talk about it sometime, but I can't talk about it on here. So.
Gotcha.
So Essence says that was my first yarn shop. We don't have any local yarn shops around here, so it's really sad. The closest one is like 45 minutes to an hour away.
Oh, wow.
And since I can't drive and I know he won't take me, it's like, I don't know. He showed it to me because his boss lives a couple blocks away from it and he's out there all the time, but he won't take a special trip to take me out there. So
probably because he knows that you're going to walk away spending a ton of money.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a ton of money, so that won't happen, but I'm also on a non-buying.
I'm on a no pattern
year unless somebody orders something and I don't have the yarn for it.
That's always the best, though, because it's like, oh, then I get to keep it.
Essence, that was in Tucson. I think my closest one is paper cranes, and it's like 3 hours. Yeah, I wish I could drive. I miss driving. I would be there and back. I don't know how many times by now. So, but anyway, we have got to get going. I can't believe it's almost 10 o'clock. So
sorry.
No, it's okay. I knew we would go over. if he was home tonight, it wouldn't be a big deal, but he's working. He doesn't normally work Wednesday nights, and he would be taking care of the cats. So, but I got to go take care of them. And it's not, you said yours needs to eat too.
Yeah, I know he's hungry. That's why he keeps coming in here.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming, and we will definitely have Macy back.
Yes.
Yep, bye. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Night,
Bye.
everybody.